Explanation of Article 296 of the Indian Constitution. 1. Purpose of the article. Article 296 deals with the ownership of property that becomes ownerless, bona vacantia, or reverts to the state due to escheat or lapse. It specifies how such property is distributed between the union and state governments. 2. Key terms explained. Escheat. When a person dies without legal heirs, their property automatically reverts to the government. Lapse. If a princely state or territory ceases to exist or merges without proper succession, its property lapses to the government. Bona vacantia, Latin for vacant goods, meaning property without a rightful owner. This includes unclaimed property, abandoned assets, or dissolved company assets. 3. Ownership of such property. If such property is located within a state, it will vest in that state government. If it is not situated in any particular state, it will vest in the union government. 4. Proviso, exception clause. If, at the time the property would have belonged to the British Crown or a ruler of an Indian state, it was already under the control of the Government of India or a state government, then, if the property was being used for union purposes, it will belong to the union government. If the property was being used for state purposes, it will belong to that state government. 5. Explanation clause. This refers to Article 363, which defines ruler, the prince or chief of an Indian state before the constitution came into effect. Indian state, the princely states that existed before independence. Summary. Article 296 clarifies how property without a rightful owner is distributed between the union and state governments. Property within a state goes to the state government. Property that does not belong to any specific state goes to the union government. If the property was already under government control at the time of lapse escheat, it remains with the respective union or state authority based on its usage. This ensures a clear legal framework for dealing with unclaimed or abandoned property in India. The Constitution of India. Part 12. Finance, Property, Contracts and Suits. Chapter 3. Property, Contracts, Rights, Liabilities. Obligations and Suits. Article 296. Property accruing by escheat or lapse or as bona vacantia. Subject as hereinafter provided, any property in the territory of India which, if this constitution had not come into operation, would have accrued to His Majesty or, as the case may be, to the ruler of an Indian state by escheat or lapse, or as bona vacantia for want of a rightful owner, shall, if it is property situate in a state, vest in such state, and shall, in any other case, vest in the union. Provided that any property which at the date when it would have so accrued to His Majesty or to the ruler of an Indian state was in the possession or under the control of the Government of India or the Government of a state shall, according as the purposes for which it was then used or held were purposes of the union or of a state, vest in the union or in that state. Explanation. In this article, the expressions ruler and Indian state have the same meanings as in Article 363.